Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk with Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau, Dale Moore. He's a native of Southwest Kansas and a former Chief of Staff at USDA. He'll give us insights on what happens next with the transition of power. Also, several groups have come together to work on climate issues. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum, plus our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com. Stop the Spread Kansas is a public awareness campaign urging Kansans to do their part in slowing the rate of COVID-19 infections across the state. Stakeholders are encouraging Kansans to follow the Center for Disease Control guidelines. That's avoid mass gatherings, use face coverings, and other measures to preserve precious healthcare resources. The campaign partners include the Kansas Hospital Association, the Kansas Chamber, the Kansas Farm Bureau, and the Kansas Medical Society. Kansans can access campaign resources, industry-specific toolkits, and guidance from the CDC at the Kansas Department of Health and Environment at stopthespreadkansas.org. This landing page will provide numerous communication resources over the next few weeks to help Kansans spread the word and not the virus. Stop the Spread Kansas hopes to ignite a sense of unity, community, and responsibility. The campaign will employ grassroots outreach to advertise and encourage all Kansans 18 and older to make some changes necessary to save lives. The most important aspect is educating citizens on the 4 tools that they can use to stop the spread of COVID-19. 1, wear a mask. 2, wash your hands often. 3, keep a safe distance. And 4, avoid large gatherings. You can find some more ag news online anytime at agview.net. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
And we're pleased to be joined now by Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau, and another one of those good Southwest Kansas boys that's done us proud and has had a career back east. But Dale, always great to have you and say hello to Kansas.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Ken, to take a trip back home and step out. These virtual trips are becoming the norm for a while here, but I just appreciate all that you do to help take care of the men and women of agriculture.
Well, now some of the days, some of the dust has settled. We pretty much know where we're going to be when it comes to Congress, the administration. Now as January gets underway, as a former USDA official and somebody that's been playing in that sandlot for a while, how do you see things kind of coming shape with this new Congress?
Well, here's one of the things that, as you know, Ken, our beloved Pat Roberts, who I had the privilege of working for, is stepping down after decades of service, not only as a senator, but as a congressman, as a staffer on Capitol Hill, as a Marine. All of that is kind of a big change for a lot of us in Washington, D.C., not just us folks in Kansas. And as we look ahead, this is going to be one of those times where you see something that doesn't occur often, but we're going to have a new chairman or chairperson of the House, or the House and Ag Committee and Senate Ag Committee, a new ranking member on the House Ag Committee. We've got a number of new members of Congress coming in. Some of the margin that's gotten narrower on the Democrat majority in the House. A lot of those came out of some of the rural districts. So as those changes occur, and then we sit down, and obviously, it looks as if everything is pointing to the, President-elect Biden and his team coming in, bringing new leadership in agriculture down at that end. Our focus is going to be on process, making sure that the men and women who are elected or appointed to serve as our representatives on all of these different programs and policy fronts, understand what farming and ranching is all about, what rural America is all about, and frankly, kind of puts their understanding and their taking care of the rural part of this country in ahead a bit of the party politics that goes on.
Well, it seems like there will be a lot of change. It seems like about the time we got used to the last 4 years of all those changes. But that's, I guess, one of the things that makes our democracy great. There are a number of programs. Do we see any holdovers other than obviously the Farm Bill and some of those other things that do have multi-years? But do you think we'll see a dramatic change at USDA?
Well, I would think this is one of those things. Two of the Roberts rules I grew up with. Ken, one is, Dale, if you pick the right issues, you never have to learn new stuff. So you're going to be working on that same issue over and over and over again. So as we look at things like the Farm Bill, like the conservation programs, crop insurance, the rural development programs, the nutrition programs, those are pretty well set in motion and set in, whether it's in the Farm Bill or other authorities. And the career employees at USDA, when you got, when I was at USDA, there were 120,000 full-time employees between the headquarters around the United States and in 64 countries around the world. So of those 120,000 employees, there's about 225 to 250 political appointees. So the math is not too hard to figure out that, yes, there's going to be a tremendous number of folks at USDA, just pick one agency, that are still there, which is why, President George W. Bush always made it loud and clear to the folks that work for him as political appointees, treat your career colleagues very nicely, because if you don't, that clanking sound that you hear all over Washington, D.C. is them locking their chairs down and saying, you know what, we're just going to wait these folks out until they decide to go home and we get a new crew in. So the men and women that work day in and day out for agriculture, again, I'm stealing President Bush's line when he said, remember, you work for me, but they work for the American people. And that's what we've got to respect and what I appreciated from my time there.
Dale Moore is with the American Farm Bureau Federation. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about an announcement made that brought a lot of farm groups together. We'll do that in just a moment. The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. And agview.net, serving the Beef Belt and Western Corn Belt with reliable and relevant agriculture information. agview.net.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Our guest this week is Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau Federation. And towards the last quarter of 2020, you and other ag groups came together. Maybe some might say kind of unusual to get together, but honestly, there's been some relationships with the Farm Bureau and Farmers Union especially. We brought along a couple of other players as some of these farm groups look to get ahead of discussions about climate and the role agriculture plays in it.
Well, Ken, one of the things that I know you've given me some good advice over the years on this front too. We talked about, you hear this term sustainability, and certainly, you know, from all of the enterprises that you and your family have been involved in, you know that sustainability, however that gets defined, you know, fill up about 3 reams of paper. But the reality is that it's got to be founded, it's got to be based in economic sustainability. So farmers and ranchers need economic sustainability, which then facilitates their ability to operate in all of these others. I know it probably sounds redundant to say it this way, but we need sustainability requires economic stability. So when you put all that together, you know, earlier this year, back in February of 2020, President Zippy Duvall, my boss, and a number of other groups, kind of the boots in the dirt groups, came together and formed a coalition that focused on sustainability. About the same time that one rolled out, in the early part of the year, another group started coming together that included some environmental groups, some nature groups like the Environmental Defense Fund, the Nature Conservancy. And folks are asking, so what is this all about? Well, from their standpoint, they want folks that they can work with that will help on the legislative front and the regulatory front, make sure we're, you know, protecting the environment. We're being quote unquote sustainable. We're focused on the climate types of issues, finding solutions. From the standpoint of the farmers and ranchers and other interest in the ag sector, it's about how do we do this in a way that incentivizes farmers and ranchers, that helps find ways that, you know, as a farmer rancher, I can afford to take this new technology or this new innovation or even this new system of operating and put it in place on my operation, make that function, but also keep the emphasis on voluntary, collaborative, cooperative type programming, as opposed to coming up with mandates with you know, punitive enforcement measures, because those will never be sustainable in the long run. You know, you've got to have something that incentivizes me as a farmer or rancher to want to keep doing this. And if I happen to be making money while doing it, bingo, you know, we've got a winner.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting how that continues to develop. Dale, there's a number of other issues we could talk about, but we know that those have to wait for another day. But again, appreciate your time and kind of giving us your insight and updates on what's going on. And as always, it's great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Ken. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate all you do to keep the word of agriculture and what's going on, keep folks not only informed, but keep us informed back in Washington, D.C. And thank you for the trip back to Kansas, brother.
Great. Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
No one plans to get sick or injured. But when life happens, it's important you and your family are protected. Kansas Farm Bureau health plans are there to provide continued health care coverage to meet your needs. Choose from a broad range of individual and family plans. And if you're over 65, we have options for you too. Learn more at kfbhealthplans.com or contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you.
The 7th class of the Emerging Leaders Academy convened in the Kansas Soybean office November 19th and 20th for Phase 1 of the program. The class of 6 agricultural professionals gained insight about the soybean industry. Presentations covered Kansas Soybean Association programs, checkoff investments and projects, an economic analysis of Kansas soybeans, and media training. The participants also observed a Kansas Soybean Association meeting. Next, this class of leaders will travel to various locations in Kansas to experience all things agriculture, including soybean transportation and processing and food and consumer issues. The Phase 2 statewide tour is currently scheduled for February 16th through 18th. To complete the leadership experience, the class participants choose their path for Phase 3, which is a professional development opportunity. To date, 45 young leaders across the state have completed the program since it began in 2014. Emerging Leaders Academy is a partnership program between the Kansas Soybean Association and Kansas Soybean Commission intended to provide awareness of both entities and instill professional skills in young agriculturists. Interest forms are always available online at www.kansassoybeans.org/ELA.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn. For livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses in every corner of the state have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the state of Kansas has identified critical needs to address with federal CARES Act funding. Nearly $12 million of that funding was earmarked for the Securing Local Food Systems Grant Program to increase capacity of Kansas local food systems. These grants were awarded this fall to more than 180 Kansas agriculture and food-related businesses and individuals across the state for projects that will allow them to expand their capability to respond to the food supply needs in their communities. Local businesses are critical to providing food to Kansans, and that need was made clear throughout this year. This grant was made available to businesses across the food and agriculture industry, including direct-to-consumer producers, growers, and vendors, food processors, slaughter and processing facilities, food banks, pantries, and soup kitchens, and retail food outlets, such as grocery stores and farmers markets. The Securing Local Food Systems grant money will be used by these local recipients for a wide scope of capital expenses related to increasing the capacity of these food-related businesses, including things like expansion or rental of buildings, facilities, or equipment, technology that improves business resilience, facility reconfiguration to meet social distancing guidelines, costs associated with sanitation or worker safety, and more. Throughout this pandemic, we have all been reminded just how critical it is that we protect our food supply system. Kansas agriculture is not just the foundation of the state's economy, it is also instrumental to keeping food in the stores and on the tables here in Kansas and across the nation. These grants will serve to aid in our state's economic recovery, as well as to build a more resilient food system for the future.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Here with Shane Oldie, Oldie Seed Farms here in Palmer, Kansas. Shane, what has been the year behind, and what do you foresee for the year ahead for sorghum?
So a great fall. Producers coming out of the field with good yields. We had a great open fall, so yields are good, prices are fantastic, and so coming into 2021, we see a high demand for grain sorghum. Guys asking about Milo products and looking for new and exciting things to bring it to the market space. So family operation up here in north central Kansas. We're proud to be a family operation that brings products to our producers that are focused and localized here for Kansas. Guys enjoy working with a non-corporate environment where they get to work with our family and our employees. We treat them like family here, and guys really enjoy that about us. One of the things that we're excited about sorghum is launching our Smart Cat brand. It'll be a 2022 release, but we're gaining momentum behind it now, doing new novel inbreds and crosses that can bring to the market space in conjunction with Kansas State University. We're seeing a lot of excitement from producers. So when we think about the novel pieces that it brings, is we're not just focused on yield, right? We're focused on quality aspects, we're focused on biomass, but we're also focused on traits to help farmers really get the whole gamut of things, but also be able to bring value back to the acre. That's not always just about yield. It can be about quality as well.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Pandemic-related limits on gatherings recently implemented by Sedgwick County have made it impossible to hold the 2020 Kansas Livestock Association Convention in person at the Hyatt in Wichita. Therefore, the KLA Board of Directors made the decision to move this year's meeting to a virtual format. The committee and council meetings, along with the membership and business meeting, will be held over a 3-week time period, starting the first week in December. The schedule is as follows: Natural Resources Committee, December 2nd, Animal Health and ID Committee, December 3rd, Tax Committee, December 8th, Stock Growers Council, December 9th, Membership and Business Meeting, December 17th. CattleFact's Chief Executive Officer Randy Block will share a market outlook during the membership meeting. While the virtual convention format does not require a registration fee, members will need to register for the meetings to participate by calling the KLA office or going to the KLA website located at kla.org. Registered members will be sent a Zoom conference link prior to the meeting.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know-to-Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Good morning. Zach Gotot here with K-Coe Isom. The shortened trading week had a lot of folks jumping for joy as we saw the Dow reach all-time highs, surpassing the 30,000 mark. Expectations of more stimulus action from the Biden administration helped keep the stock bulls fed. Over in the ags, not a lot is new over in the grain space. Weather concerns in South America still seem to be the focus as of late. As far as bullish fundamental news, it seems we're eagerly waiting for a fresh headline. Exports have slowed as of late, but still seem to be on pace for the USDA's projections. There also have been rumors floating that the Chinese may be looking to cancel a handful of soybean cargoes. At the moment, it's just coffee shop talk, but if these rumors become fact, that's obviously going to throw a monkey wrench in things. The outlook still looks friendly, but with this hockey stick move, we're probably due for a pullback, and from a chart standpoint, beans can lose 80 cents and really not hurt the chart. With a move like this, it's easy to get caught up in all the headlines and why we have to keep going because of these fundamental reasons, and the reality is, by the time you and I hear about it, the market has already priced that news in. A couple of indicators when a market is changing direction is basis and carry, and I'll stick with soybeans because they've been the most exciting. From a basis standpoint, here in the interior, basis is historically good, has been all year, and has been getting better. But if you go look at the export markets, the Gulf and Pacific Northwest, bids are off by about 40 cents. Not overnight, but over the course of about a month. Not saying that's the end all, but it makes sense considering we aren't seeing the same flash sales that we did in September and October. The other piece is watching the spreads from one month to the next. In a typical year, we see the deferred months at a premium to the nearby. A little over a month ago, we saw the inverse. The nearby was at a 25-cent premium to the next. That is hugely bullish. Since then, we've come back down, and this past week, we saw carry come back into the soybeans. From a spread perspective, this is not as friendly. With all that being said, we have the age-old question of when is the high? And the answer is, we don't know until it's after the fact. We can only look backwards on price, not forwards. We can keep going higher, of course, but be aware and don't let all the news cloud your judgment. At these levels, you can make good money, and by all means, be friendly, just don't be foolish. If you have questions on these topics or any markets, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Zach Kotot. Have a great day.
Well, that's our show this week. You can be social with us by going online at kansasagreport.net or like us on Facebook, Kansas Ag Report Television Show. Follow us on Twitter at Kansas Ag Report. Again, be safe and be good neighbors. Shop local this holiday season. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.